All right, guys, what if improving your disaster readiness had nothing to do with your gear, but everything to do with how you start your morning?
Our guests today believe that your sleep routine could actually be the secret to staying calm, sharp, and ready when it matters most. Stay tuned. You're listening to Disaster Class Podcast by Instinct Ready Emergency Management. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Disaster Class, the podcast that's dedicated to helping you educate, prepare, and equip yourself for life's disruptions. I'm Jason Perez, and with me today is my partner in crime, Wesley Long. And Wesley, you know what the bell means.
Yes, sir. Class is now in session.
Yes, it is. And we have a nice, restful episode for you today. We're talking today with Lori Oliver and Jill MacRae, founders of the Inactive Company. They're taking the science of sleep and they're turned it into a mission for healthier and more resilient living. Lori and Jill, welcome to Disaster Class.
Thank you very much. We appreciate being here.
Yes, good to have you. So you started this company, the Inactive Company, and the premise that I understand is that sleep can be a tool for resilience. So obviously our audience is, we're focused on emergency preparedness, disaster preparedness. Why is rest and sleep maybe an underrated part of emergency preparedness, would you say?
Well, first of all, the disaster is the lack of sleep that most people
Amen.
are getting these days. I
Yep.
mean, it's epidemic, and people don't realize how it affects their performance every single day, as well as their long-term health. You always sleep when you're dead. I'm fine tomorrow. If I don't sleep tonight, the truth is you're not. And the next day can be a true disaster and even life and death for people. So I think it's really appropriate, especially for an audience that does care about being prepared.
Yes.
You are part of the rest of us when we say that you are very likely not getting the 7 to 9 hours of sleep that really are required for your body to run through all the processes and systems to actually make you prepared for anything the next day.
Yeah. Love it. So, our background is in emergency management, right? So we're helping organizations plan, assess risk, working with whether it's a school district or a Fortune 500 company, right? The first step is always evaluating risk. And what I just got from what you said is sleep and rest should be on our risk assessment because it might be part of the problem.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. I mean, athletes have found this out, that really it is part of the core performance kind of measures for them to meet their goals, to be prepared, to play well, to perform well. So it's definitely part of what first responders need to be aware of, and really anyone who is facing or assessing any sort of risk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So
I just want to interrupt for just a moment to say thank you to Sawyer Products for sponsoring this episode of Disaster Class. I personally love Sawyer Products. I've been using their water filter and insect repellent for years. Every time I go camping, hiking, spend any time outdoors, I've got my Sawyer products there. I keep a water filter in my go bag. That way, if anything happens, I know it's there when I need it. So whether you're in the backcountry, the backyard, you're on the trail, or doing humanitarian relief, Sawyer products are making an impact. So visit Sawyer.com today to learn more and to find a retailer near you.
Wildfire Mayhem isn't just a game, it's a hands-on disaster response simulation. Step into the Emergency Operations Center and lead coordinated efforts to contain wildfires, evacuate communities, and manage crisis. Crafted by certified emergency managers, this board game offers realistic scenarios and dynamic challenges. Get your copy at emdisastergaming.com and bring preparedness to the table.
In looking at that concept, like athletes, first responders, you're talking about down the road massive implications for being able to develop a process to get continual sleep. So you guys promote a simple, what is it, a weekly change approach. So why does that model work better than perhaps trying to overhaul everything all at once?
Sleep is behavioral. We talk about a sleep warm up. People say sleep routine, sleep hygiene. We put a little bit of a performance spin on it because we believe that sleep equals performance. So if you talk about your sleep warm up, what do you do to get ready to sleep? Just like what do you do to get ready to go to the gym? What do you do to get ready for a big performance or presentation that you have to give? It's the same thing. Sleep is not magic. It's something that you can train, perfect, and practice for.
Interesting. I
Very
love that concept.
People
Okay.
do get sort of overwhelmed though by not getting enough sleep. And what we're finding, and the reason we say just keep it simple, start with one thing. And we'll talk about the sleep mask was our initial one thing. And it relates to what we personally kind of experienced as busy executives, moms, family members, travelers worldwide. But really, if you get stressed out about sleep, you don't sleep well, it gets worse. So what we say is try one thing, just like you do with, I just added creatine, for example, because I've tried to be healthy overall, but I'm like, I don't like the way I'm not building as much muscle as I used to. So I'm just doing that one thing. So we're saying same thing with sleep. Start with one thing. And there are different one things work for different people, but we have a few suggestions and it's just, we say start simply.
Yep.
Very cool. So now you've identified 7 strategies for sleep. So can you maybe walk us through maybe some of it, just some of the basics?
Yep, we call it the Sleep 7. It's actually a playbook. So it's based on cognitive behavioral therapy for insomniac. So, but it's, there's 7 steps to a lot of things. There's 7 steps to very successful people, 7 steps to stop habits that you don't want to keep doing anymore. So people are very familiar with sort of the 7-step approach. And we, again, put our own spin on it because we believe, once again, that sleep is performance. So ours are the first is, go long. First of all, you have to commit. So don't set your alarm for anything less than the 7 to 9 hours that your body really requires you to sleep. So that's number 1. Number 2 is team up. Find a pal who also needs sleep and talk about it. It's okay, guys. You can talk about needing sleep. I mean, that's
Really?
That's
a
how
thing?
this company was founded because we were always talking about how exhausted we were and supporting each other as, women and moms and busy executives. So that's number 2 for sure. Number 3, get in the zone. This is my personal favorite. Everyone asks me if I have one tip. This is mine. Your bed is a sacred space. It's really for sleeping. And I'm super guilty. So I know when I say this, it's not for like eating or binge watching or, having family meetings, which I also do with my dogs. But,
Of course.
it really is a sacred space. And the more you can be disciplined about that, the better you can be to be comfortable to sleep the way that your body needs to sleep. Number 4, we say eyes on the prize. The prize is sleep, not your laptop or your phone or any other device, particularly that emits blue light, because it takes about 30 minutes for your brain to kind of flush that out, things that you're still watching even when you shut it off. That's number 4. Number 5 is dream and do it. So dream it or do it. So all the GOATs talk about visualizing positivity and talk about, if you build it, it will come kind of thing. They will come. Same with sleep. If you psych yourself up and give yourself a pep talk, sleep will actually come. And that's part of getting in a routine. So whether or not it's a little Pavlovian, which, we say our inactivator sleep mask helps with that. So once you see that visual cue, your shoulders kind of drop, you sort of like start relaxing, your brain signals the rest of your body to start relaxing as well.
Trained behavior.
Love it. Yeah. And cognitive behavioral therapy is shown to work on not, you know, on many different things, anxiety and all kinds of, so like, yeah,
Correct.
that's awesome.
And it's so funny because when you say it, people are like, what? I'm sorry. You know, it sounds super scary or
Right.
super psycho-y. And you're like, all it is like sort of just walking yourself through a
Right.
plan, like anything else that you will do. Number 6 is we say pre-game pep talk, but it sort of goes along with the dream it, do it. So, you know, I like to say, I'm going to sleep and then get up. Wait, can I say that on this?
You just did.
You just
Done.
did. Okay.
Done. Love it.
That's my personal favorite.
Okay.
And then I like to say is number 7 is extra points, and that's positive reinforcement, right? Everyone loves positive reinforcement. Even the toughest guys, the athletes, the veterans that we talk to, they actually like to reward themselves. My personal is shoes, but you might want to reward yourself with something else. So but the best reward, quite honestly, and this is from my personal experience, when I sleep better, I perform better, I'm a better athlete, I'm a better mom, I'm a better business partner.
I love it.
Very nice.
And it's, you know, it's not complicated, which I love. Like, it's not this, right? And like we talk about, you know, on our podcast, we're talking about hazards and, you know, we think about disasters and emergencies, and it just can be this big overwhelming thing. But when you break it down and you create a plan, go through the steps, it makes it much more manageable. And that's what you guys are doing with sleep. So, and it's something we take for granted. We don't think about having a plan for that. So love that.
Oh, and when you talk about, you know, disasters, emergencies, like my dad was a trauma surgeon. So he loves this product, and he, you know, has always told me like in the protocol. So I don't know if you've been in the hospital lately, hopefully you have not, but when you're being triaged, you know, number 3 on the questionnaire is how much sleep have you had? So they say, are you impaired? Have you been taking everything? How much sleep did you have before this particular thing happened? So they really do sort of document that.
Yeah, it's very, very, very important. I totally get that. So one of the other things that you mentioned, which could seem overly simplistic but very powerful, is that blue light and how our body reacts to that. And we need, as you mentioned, like a 30-minute cool down for that. I also heard somewhere with what you guys were mentioning, like a tech timeout in the morning. So like cutting out the blue light so you can go to sleep, giving you that 30-minute window. And then this tech timeout in the morning. Can you speak a little bit to that? What makes that worth the effort? And how do you help people stick right with that?
That one's my favorite thing.
Okay.
I'm all about the morning sunlight. And if you listen to any of the, you know, Stanford professor like Andrew Huberman or whatever, it really is important to get natural light into your eyes in the morning, first thing. And so I'm having my first cup of coffee. If you drink tea, whatever, water outside. If you can't get outside at all, sit very close to a window. Even if it's a cloudy day, the sunlight still gets into your eyes. And what that's doing is helping to set your circadian rhythm. So you begin the day with setting yourself up for sleep well, because your body is in your brain now know it's time to be up. You know, I'm alert. I've got some cortisol. I've got, you know, endorphins. Everything is kind of starting to charge up, if you will. And then at night, not getting that artificial, especially light into your eyes, is really signaling your brain, your body, it's time to go to sleep. That is naturally how we're made. And so if you just go back to what your body wants, it will help you sleep.
Wow. Powerful. Makes total sense too.
Does.
Like, thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, it's a culture thing, and we're talking about trying to convince people to build sleep culture, because people still, they're getting the message that sleep is important, but we still fight the perception that when you're asleep, your body isn't doing anything. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It really is the foundation of health, and your body's working really hard when it's sleeping to do everything that you probably are also trying to do intentionally when you're awake. You know, it's regenerating and building your muscles. It's cleansing your brain. It's stabilizing your mood. It's doing all the work for you if you just have the discipline to lay there and let yourself go through a sleep process.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Makes total sense.
Yep.
Yeah. So you also talk about this concept of the sleep cave as another tip. So what is this? What are the basics, and how can people improve their sleep space?
That's mine. I do.
I see you both have many favorites.
Yeah, we do. We do. And we share all the time. We're not embarrassed to share at all. I do. Everyone makes fun of me. I basically sleep in a cocoon. I do. And first of all, everyone's sleep preferences are different, right? But there are some basic rules. You absolutely need 100% blackout for your brain to signal your body to make melatonin. Temperature is a big part of that. If you get too hot, you'll also wake up. So, you have to be comfortable. And we took all this into consideration when we were building our products and, forming the company, but that's my favorite. So mine is super dark, wear the sleep mask. It has to be freezing cold.
Yep.
Blankets on me.
Yep.
And, lots of pillows around me. That's my sleep cave. But that works for me.
Yes, I'm actually the same way. I have tons of pillows. It has to be cold. If I'm like just the teensiest bit warm, I'm like all over the place. Got my blackout curtains. Yeah.
That's good. Yep. Athletes have told us over and over again, I'm just so hot every night.
Right.
And really science says that about 67 degrees is kind of the sweet spot. You can go to 65 even if you want to, but it's difficult to get too cold. So people are mostly trying to sleep in too warm room temperatures. So you got to crank it down a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah. I love that. And I like that you guys are giving us specific benchmarks that we can hit, right? That's super, super valuable. So like if our sleep pattern is off, you've already given us a handful of specific things that we can start tweaking in our own personal habits. That I'm already taking notes of some things that I'm gonna address. So thank you so much for this. This is extremely interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We I tell you what, we are, we're so passionate because we are reformed poor sleepers. So it's
right.
we always knew we're intelligent enough to know that it's not that hard, but it is, you have to really embrace a sleep routine, the sleep process, and for us, it was kind of like how we both embrace fitness and working out. And so if you can start to make that comparison in your own mind, that's helpful. And that was also, I just want to show you that also the reason for developing the sleep mask the way we did. So we call ours the inactivators. And we thought it was really important, like Jill said earlier. First of all, it's just a visual cue and a physical cue for your brain and body to say, oh, it's time to go to bed. Oh, I have to get off my phone because I can't, watch TV or play games or be on FaceTime if my eyes are covered. And the second thing was we wanted to make sure that every face, no matter the shape of your features, the size of your head, could kind of custom fit the sleep mask to their own face. We also wanted it to have that temperature regulation built right in. So we didn't want you to have to put it in the freezer and then pull it out and then 2 minutes later it was. So it has that. It doesn't touch your eyelashes. You can open and close your eyes if you want to under the mask, just to get that sense of where you are in space and time. And then we didn't want to put any hardware on the strap itself, but we wanted to make the strap, flexible enough for you to fit it however you wanted to wear it on your head. Some people have braids and you can put it through your braids, or you can just simply take the straps and position them up or down or split or together, however you want to on your head. And then we created this really lightweight, ergonomically fitting sleep mask that is backed in science. That was kind of back to one simple thing is it just kind of became that centerpiece for us that we could then build other sleep routine processes that were helpful to us individually around.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you for the overview.
Yeah, I like the specific point you mentioned about how it's kind of curved so it doesn't touch your your eyes, because I've actually have tried a couple different sleep masks, and my eyes are very like prone to like getting styes. So I was had some, and if it would touched it, it actually my eyes, and I would get it was terrible. So love that little feature. That's great.
Yeah, really great.
What do you feel about the role white noise for sleep? Is that something that you recommend, or is that something where or is that like a personal preference kind of thing? What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're a product of your environment. I love it. I have a fan and also a sound machine that sounds like a fan, just in case my fan doesn't work.
Have a backup. Redundancy. Yes. Emergency preparedness.
My husband can't stand it. He likes, complete silence. But I don't have it. My issue is different. I don't have a problem falling asleep. I have a problem staying asleep. So noise helps me stay asleep. So I'll wake up. But I think that is a personal preference. But everyone has these crazy like ocean machines or jungle machines. My sister has one that's like the sounds of the jungle. I'm like, what's
going on? What's happening?
I'm being stalked.
I feel like something's coming.
So relaxing. I'm like, for who? Indiana Jones? Like, she's like, this is amazing.
And now you're in the bed and you're
running. You're like, no.
You're gonna be chased by a tiger.
Right.
But what's becoming almost equally popular is no noise. There are great earbuds and earplugs now on the market that really quiet the environment for those who don't like white noise or other noise. Right. So, it is personal preference at the end of the day.
Perfect. For Jill's husband. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was actually interesting. Yeah. Like, that was my next question, because like I love white noise, and thankfully my wife also loves white noise. Right. But how do you manage two different sleep preferences
or sleep caves? Dual sleep caves.
Yes. So we this year became our youngest graduated college, and we became empty nesters. So we each have our own bedrooms, and our relationship has never been better.
Awesome.
Hey,
the sleep is the key
for
everyone.
I'm proud double
divorce.
Right. Listen, you got to create the cave environment. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so important. So let's bring this back to this concept then. We've talked about the value of sleep. Now let's talk about the other side of that. Like when it comes to emergencies, natural disasters, long shifts, family crises, how does the lack of sleep impact someone's ability to make good decisions? Right? Yeah. How does that mess us up?
Emergency folks of any sort, but first responders specifically have been researched. So I want you to take these research results and kind of expand them to anybody dealing with an emergency. But 70% of firefighters were found to have reported themselves that they have less than ideal sleep. And about more than a third of them actually had significant sleep disorders. So it's one thing to say, yeah, sometimes I have trouble sleeping, but a sleep disorder can really mess up your life. And so first responders, work on shifts, and that's a problem. 61% of shift workers, police officers, EMS, firefighters, and others are more likely to suffer from insomnia and excessive daytime sleepiness than the general population or other workers that just work during the day. That can be very problematic for everything from decision-making to accuracy to accidents, you name it. So, it can be a huge problem. And the worst thing is, and one of the research results that I particularly thought was interesting was that firefighters, for example, didn't realize they had a problem with lack of sleep. They have no awareness. Athletes also were researched and shown that they are naive about how much sleep they're actually getting and how impaired they actually are when they don't get enough. And that's a huge problem. I mean, nobody wants to think I'm performing suboptimally, or I'm really not as ready as I should be to take part in helping in an emergency situation because of lack of sleep. So the lesson there is then make sure you get enough.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Absolutely. So let's break this down for a second. Jason, I get to throw you a curveball. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here.
He loves doing that.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I literally live for it. I wake up
He's
in the
ready.
morning
Jason's
after I
ready.
get my sunlight, and I'm like, okay, how can I throw a curveball to Jason?
There you go.
Yeah, right. So let's just take what they mentioned, Jason, and really break it down for first responders. We're both in EMS.
Both EMS background.
EMS background.
We've both done
dispatcher
night
shift work. I currently work night shift, right? So it's easy for us to give those stats and say impaired, not great, but let's literally talk about what that means. All right, Jason, you're responding to an emergency. What are the ramifications of a lack of reflexes because of a lack of sleep when you're driving? Think about your CVO training.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the response. And then, I mean, the other aspect of it too, like I think with, especially like paramedics and you're like calculating dosages for medicine.
Not even the calculation.
Like
you physically have to give someone an injection.
Yeah.
You have to keep your hands steady in an already moving ambulance, right? Yeah. Like, we're just talking about, like, bring this down to the realistic component of what impairment can look like. And Jason, we talk about this in emergency management all the time. Let me give you 2 words and I'm going to let you run with this. Cascading impacts.
Yep. That's just the snowball effect, right? It's every one thing leading to the next. Yeah.
Right. So think about that in the case of a first responder. And we haven't even gotten into the cognitive impairment. Right. A lot of the times we talk about in the world of EMS, when we get called to a scene, we have to play detective. We're trying to put clues together to find out what's going on. Now, ultimately, yes, when they're really bad, we just want to get them to definitive care as quickly as possible. But we got to piece stuff together. We got to figure things out. We do have to think. Right? If our cognition is impaired because of lack of sleep, and then we have to interact with an interjection, right? We have to make an interaction to the patient. We have a choice. Are we going to choose the right interaction? Are we going to perform that interaction appropriately? All of that can go back to the lack of sleep and the loss and the minimization of cognition. Right? So the impacts of it can be massive.
Catastrophic. The National Institute of Health recently published the 5 phases of sleep deprivation to help raise the awareness, because people don't realize, how critical they are. And the first is like, drowsiness and irritability, like me. The second that's when the second phase is, more than 36 hours is when your cognitive impairment starts to be pretty severe. After that, in stage 3, it can actually lead to hallucinations. After 72 hours in stage 4, it's memory lapses and potential psychosis. And then in stage 5, your body actually starts to shut down because it's racing to keep, and people don't realize that. They associate that with alcohol or drug use or malnutrition or dehydration. They actually, so it's great that they published it, even though it's scary, but you can actually do this to your body.
Right. And I just wanted to touch on that. I'm so glad you brought that out, because in times past, we've heard like the moniker or the saying that sleep driving is sometimes worse than drunk driving.
100%.
Right? When you're so tired and and listen, unfortunately, don't nod your heads right now. You don't want to give yourselves up. But unfortunately, all of us have probably been in the car driving when we were too tired to drive.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate that there was a rumble strip. Some places have a rumble strip on the double yellow line. Thank heavens. And then we snap to and we continue and we get that pump of adrenaline, right? And we, oh my God, yeah, let that happen. But it could be so detrimental, right? So detrimental. I've heard of cases like that, of course. But
and specifically in the case of EMS drivers, research has shown they get 3.8 to 5.3 hours of sleep per night. That's it.
Yeah.
That is woefully deficient.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can speak to that, right? I have so many coworkers where we talk about this often. Now, I am very, very fortunate, and I understand that it's a for now thing. As I'm aging, I know that this may change and transition. My body still works well working at night. I'm able to sleep on command. I'm
Mm,
able to
lucky.
wake up on command, right? I'm very, very fortunate, but I also know that that might have a shelf life. It
Yeah.
might be in a year and a half where I'm like, I'm not keeping up. And I might have to go in and be like, hey, I got to look at a day shift because my body isn't responding as it used to. So I am cognizant that that is not a given for perpetuity. I have to continually monitor that. But for right now, I'm okay. I've got the blackout. I've got my little, I've got my sleep cave temperature. I've got all those things set up, and I'm able to sleep okay. So like I can get home at 7 a.m. I can be asleep by 7:15. Like I can, my body
Okay.
can do that. Yeah, my body can do
You
that.
have a great sleep warm up. It's really
Yeah,
about routine and doing
yeah,
what works for you.
yeah,
Another, just wanted to reiterate
yeah.
that one.
For
Yeah.
now, right? And I get it because as our bodies change and as we age, things might change. We might need to tweak our sleep cave.
Yeah,
Maybe it's no longer
Absolutely.
effective. We
absolutely.
have to continually reassess that to make
Yeah.
sure it's optimal and that we're getting that optimal sleep. So your entire message is definitely hitting home to a shift worker, right? A night worker that works in EMS. You're literally talking to the choir here. So I appreciate where you guys are coming from.
Yeah. Do you have in your research and your offerings, do you have anything specific, any specific tips for those night workers, or is it all kind of the same principles?
So consistency and also doing your part to institute a sleep culture within the whole system. We've talked to
Mm,
firefighters, for example, who have said, when I work a night shift, I go into the station and I tell these guys, let's go ahead and start dinner. Let's get in bed,
right.
early, because we all know that all the calls come
3
after
a.m.
midnight. So,
Right.
we should
Yeah.
just not just play around.
Yeah.
Work out. The heavy workout is probably not shouldn't take place at 10 p.m.
Right.
So there are specific things, but I think the biggest things are be consistent,
Hmm.
go to bed at the same time, even if it is on a off hour shift, and support each other. Really develop and support a sleep culture among the team. So the people that you work with.
I
And then
love that.
also, I think I'm going to say this as the former wife of a police officer.
Hmm.
Don't forget significant others.
Mm,
Like I remember being really stressed out when my husband was on duty, not knowing the significant others don't know when you're in the middle of an emergency and when you're eating in the
right.
station,
Right. Right. Right.
their stress is high pretty much the whole time during
Until
a
you
shift.
come home. Right.
Mhm. And so I think that also when you're at home, kind of doing sleep together too, like really talking at home with your family about, hey, let's all really value sleep here. Let's make sure we get enough. You'll notice a difference in your family life too. I mean, it does regulate your mood. It calms everybody down. It
Yep.
helps depression. It helps PTSD. So a lot of things specifically for people, especially dealing with emergencies, and their families can benefit.
Yeah. I'm just gonna throw this out there. It wasn't in the script. And it's not a question. I'm not giving it to anybody as a curveball. I'm just getting on my soapbox here for a moment. Um, Being in EMS, we deal with individuals. Jason, it's the good old CI, right? We deal with individuals who call them altered mental status. And I just want to say this because it coincides with what you're talking about. The medications that individuals are on many times for mental health are not designed to solve the problem, right? There's no pill that we can take that solves anxiety. There's no pill that we can take that solves major depressive disorder. The pills that we take help sedate,
Mhm.
help cope, help manage and mitigate, to use some emergency management terms. They're not actually healing the issue. Really, the only healing factor we have is our sleep cycle. That
Mhm.
is the only way the brain can actually start to repair itself. That's the only option we have. There's no pill for that. So I just want to highlight again the value of sleep. That's the only chance the brain has to reset, shut off the other functions that it doesn't need to focus on, and literally just say, okay, let's start rebuilding some cells. It's the only option that we have for it. So I highly appreciate your message. I highly appreciate you guys taking your time to be with us, but I'm going to press you now for one piece of specificity. What is one small change that people that are listening to this can make this week to start moving toward better rest and stronger resilience? One thing. Give us one takeaway, maybe one from each of you, if whether it's your favorite or not. One thing that these listeners, okay, I hear what they're saying. I get it. It's important, but I can't do 15 things. Give me one thing that I can work on this week.
I would say right now, walk in your bedroom, look at your bed. Are you set up for sleep success? Is it clear? Is it comfortable? Is it clean? Is it, you have the right pillows and blankets on there for your comfort? That's what I would do. Make sure your bed is for sleeping.
I love it. I'm going to jump in. Sorry, Lori. We'll get to you.
Oh, you're fine.
The reason I'm laughing is because I'm a very visual thinker. When you said that to me, what translated in my brain was, it's like treating your bed like your office, or your room like your office, or your bed like your desk.
Clean off your desk.
How clean is your desk so you can get down and get some work done? How focused are all the items on your desk for performance at work? That's exactly how we should be viewing our beds. Our bedroom is our office. Our bed is our desk. That's where we get things done. Clean off your desk.
Yep.
All right, Lori, please.
Mine have to do with light in the morning.
Okay.
Get that natural light. In the evening, start turning down your lights.
Right.
Literally an hour or more before you are ready to go to bed. Start just turning off some of the lights. You don't need overhead lights. You don't need all this stuff happening at 8 p.m. Right. Go ahead and get your body used to lower level of light starting in the evening. And then, of course, I got to slip in another one. Okay. Just get a sleep mask.
How about that? Has someone made something that could assist with sleep? Like that would be, it'd be awesome if there was somebody we could talk to that had pioneered and engineered, let's say, I don't know, a device that could help me sleep.
Well,
do you guys know such a thing?
Yeah, shockingly, only about 10% of Americans, at least, use sleep masks. Have ever even tried one?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're saying we don't really care if you think you always sleep well or if you always struggle. Everybody should have a sleep mask in their arsenal.
Right.
The little black dress of what you need to go to sleep. And once you get used to it and you start to train yourself to make those associations we talked about earlier, you will sleep better.
Okay, I'm just going to carry on the analogy then. So the sleep mask is like having a computer on your desk. And whether you are computer savvy or not, you got to have a computer because at some point in time, you're going to have to hop on and check your email. I'm just going with this whole thing of work. Just go with me, people. Okay, just follow me on this journey. Okay, your bedroom is your office. Your bed is your desk. Your sleep mask is your computer. You gotta make sure you have.
I love that. Technology.
Okay.
I love it.
I get it. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is where my head goes. Thank you for joining me on the vision. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No, it's great. Really, it's great. I mean, people have to start thinking out of the norm about their sleep, and that's exactly what you're doing. It's great.
Okay. All right. Listen, we have loved chatting with you. I hope our audience picks up on our energy because, listen, you guys are both brilliant, innovative, and so kind to share some time with us and our audience. We thank you so much for that. So let me ask this question. Our audience, where can they go to learn more about the Inactive Company and get started with your tools? People are gonna watch this and listen to this and be like, listen, my desk needs some work and I got to upgrade my computer. So where can I go to upgrade my computer?
Go to our website, inactiveco.com. where you can purchase the mask, but you can also download the Sleep 7 Playbook to use every single night.
Mm-hmm.
And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. We're constantly posting blogs, articles, and tips to help you sleep better.
Awesome. So
Very
I
good.
didn't even think about that. The playbook, right? Those are like your
Yeah.
policies at work that you have to follow. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
He's in rare form today.
Oh, I'm
On
sorry.
fire. You're on fire.
You know what? I got a lot of sleep today. Can you tell?
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why you're bringing the heat.
Yeah, you guys
You
like
got
moving in
some
slow
sleep.
motion, and I'm like moving
Love it.
fast.
Yeah. Well, apparently I did not get enough last night, so we're gonna change that for tonight, though.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Is there anything else you wanted that we haven't talked about that you want to plug or just want to highlight before we conclude?
I think we're good. I will say this one thing.
Please.
I don't know. Sorry. My dog's sleepy and cranky. I don't know if you guys watched or followed the US Open.
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't.
Not this year. I did.
The women's finals this year was Arena Sabalenka, who's my personal favorite, but also Amanda Anisimova, who's American, and she's on a comeback right now. She did lose in the finals, but in her interview afterwards, she said it was because she was tired and fatigued because they were playing at night and she wasn't used to doing that.
Her rhythm was off. Wow.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the impact, right?
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Real life.
Real thing.
Struggle is real.
I hear
Yeah.
ya. I hear
Well,
ya.
thank you both so much for the work you're doing and for sharing your tips with our listeners. We really appreciate having you on the podcast.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Awesome.
So today's big takeaway, being prepared doesn't always mean doing more. Sometimes it means resting better so that your brain and your body are ready when the moment comes.
Yeah, and a huge thanks to Lori and Jill for helping us rethink preparedness from, let's say, the pillow up, right?
Mm.
And don't forget, we can learn more at inactiveco.com.
And be sure to rate, follow, give us that thumbs up, subscribe to Disaster Class. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and tag someone who needs to sleep better and think clearer. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Disaster Class. Stay educated.
Stay prepared.
Stay equipped.
All right, guys, class dismissed. Get out of here.
This episode of Disaster Class was sponsored in part by Sawyer Products, EM Disaster Gaming, and Stop the Bleed Coalition. This episode was hosted by Jason Perez and Wesley Long with a special appearance by Lori Oliver and Jill MacRae. Disaster Class is directed, produced, and edited by Jason Perez. Copyright 2025, Instinct Ready Incorporated, all rights reserved.